Good morning, everyone. How are you? Hope everyone is fine. So, students, as you know that we have started chapter 1, that is nutrition in plants, and in our previous session we have studied about the mode of nutrition in plants. Now we know that uh, there are two ways of the mode of nutrition. They are autotrophic and heterotrophic, and we have studied about the photosynthesis also, that means food making process in plants also. And now we know that what is the importance of photosynthesis. So students, today we are starting with the activity 1.1, and I want to give you a small recap what we have done in a previous session. So students, what is the importance of photosynthesis? So can you imagine the earth in the absence of photosynthesis? No. Why? Because photosynthesis enables the green plants to make their own food. In the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any plant. So the survival of all animals in the world, directly or indirectly, depends upon the food made by the plants, and oxygen, which is essential for the survival of all living organism, is produced during photosynthesis, and carbon dioxide is used by the plants during photosynthesis. So we can say that photosynthesis maintain the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So in the absence of photosynthesis, life on the earth would be impossible. So students, one activity is given, and after performing this activity, you will come to know that sunlight is needed for making starch. So we can say that sunlight is necessary for the photosynthesis. So what we will do for performing this activity? According to this activity, take two potted plants of the same kind, keep one in the dark or in the black box for 72 hours and the other in the sunlight. Perform iodine test with the leaves of both the plants as you did in class 6 and record your result. Now leave the pot which was earlier kept in the dark in the sunlight for 3-4 days and perform the iodine test again on its leaves and record your observation in your notebook. So students, what we have to do, we have to take two potted plants of the same kind and keep one in the dark for 72 hours and the other in the sunlight and perform the iodine test with the leaves of the both the plants. So what we have to do, we will put the iodine solution on the leaf, on the both leaves, and we will observe that the blue black color will be observed on the leaf of the plant that is kept in sunlight. So we can say that it indicates that the presence of starch, that means photosynthesis is done here. And the next leaf, when we will put iodine solution, you will observe that blue black color will not be observed on the leaf of the plant that is kept in dark room, because of the presence of photosynthesis. This indicate the absence of starch. So students, you can now you can conclude that sunlight is needed for the making of for starch, and sunlight is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. The leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigment mask the green color. Photosynthesis take place in these leaves also. You often see slimy green patches in ponds or stagnant water bodies. These are generally formed by the growth of organism that is called algae. Algae is a, we can say, algae is a one kind of microorganism that can be seen through microscope. And can you guess why algae are green in color? They contain chlorophyll which give them a green color, and algae can also prepare their own food by the photosynthesis. So we can say algae is also autotroph. Now students, we will study about the synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrate. Plants also synthesize protein and fats also. Students, we have just learned that plants synthesize carbohydrate as a starch through the process of photosynthesis. Plants can also synthesize other component of food such as proteins and fats. Proteins are the substance which contain nitrogen. So from where do the plant obtain nitrogen? Plants cannot use the nitrogen present in the atmosphere. They need nitrogen in a soluble form. So soil has certain bacteria like rhizobium bacteria that is present in the leguminous plant, nodule of the leguminous plant like pea, gram. So soil has certain bacteria that is called rhizobium, which can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into water soluble nitrogen component like nitrates and release it into the soil. These nitrates are absorbed by the plants along with water, and also fertilizer are rich in nitrogen, so plants absorb nitrogen from these fertilizer also. So students, now we can say that plant synthesize, other than carbohydrate, plants can also synthesize proteins and fats. So students, there are these are the used to synthesize other component of food such as proteins and fats, but proteins are nitrogenous substance which contain nitrogen. So from where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Plants can take the soluble nitrogen from the soil, water soluble nitrogen, and the bacteria that is called rhizobium can convert the atmospheric nitrogen into soluble nitrates. Clear all of you? So in this way the plants fulfill their requirement of nitrogen along with the other constituent, and plants can then synthesize protein and vitamins. Now we will study the other mode of nutrition in plants. We have studied about the autotrophic mode of nutrition and we have studied about the photosynthesis process in detail. Now we will study the other mode of nutrition. There are some plants which do not have chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize their food like humans and animals. Such non-green plants depend on the food produced by other green plants. So this is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now we will study in detail how heterotrophic plants derive their nutrition. So look at the figure 1.5. Do you see a yellow wiry branches structure twining around the stem and branches of a tree? Students, you have to see this figure. This is Cuscuta. Common name is Amarbel on the host plant. This is Cuscuta. So we can say that this is a plant called Cuscuta amarbel. It does not have chlorophyll. It takes ready-made food from the plant on which it is climbing, and the plant on which it climbs is called host, since it deprives the host of valuable nutrients. So the Cuscuta is called parasite. Are we and other animal also a kind of parasite? You should think about it and discuss with your teacher. So students, this is the another mode of nutrition that is known as a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, or we can say parasitic nutrition. So Cuscuta is a non-green plant and it does not have chlorophyll. It cannot make its own food. It's a long yellowish thread-like stem, as you can see in the figure, twine around the stem and branches of the tree on which it climbs, and it has a special structure also which persists into the plant's body on which it climbs for the absorption of ready-made food. So the mode of nutrition in which some plants live in or on the body of other living organism and derive their ready-made food from them is called parasitic nutrition, and the plant like Cuscuta which obtains the ready-made food is called parasite, and the organism from whose body the food is obtained is called host. So we can say that parasites may be total or partial. Parasite may be total or partial. Cuscuta is a total parasite, and for example a fungi or bacteria are also total parasite, and some plants like we can say some plants are we can say some plants are also parasite, but they are partial parasites. So now have you seen or heard of the plant that can eat animal? There are few plants which can trap insects and digest them. Is it not amazing? Such plants may be green or of some other color. Look at the plant in given 1.6, figure 1.6, pitcher plant showing lid and pitcher. You can see the diagram of pitcher plant. It is insectivorous plant. The apex of the leaf forms a lid which can open and close the mouth of the pitcher. Inside the pitcher there are hair which are directed downwards. When an insect lands in the pitcher, the lid closes and the trapped insect gets entangled into the hair, and the lid closes and insect is trapped. The insect is digested by the digestive juice secreted in the pitcher plant and its nutrients are absorbed. Such insect eating plants are called insectivorous plant. So this is the another mode of nutrition that is found in we can say insectivorous plant. So the we can say that few plant feed on insect for fulfilling their nitrogen requirements, such as insect eating plant are called insectivorous plant, like pitcher plant, or another example is Venus flytrap also. They are generally green plant and therefore they can prepare their own food, but for the preparing protein they cannot get nitrogen from the surrounding. So the insect on which they feed and fulfill their nitrogen requirements. In a pitcher plant we can say the lid is there and one in figure 1.6 you can see pitcher plant showing lid and pitcher. So when the insect lands on the pitcher, the lid closes and trap the insect get entangled in the hair and the insect is digested by the digestive juice secreted in the pitcher. So this is all about the insectivorous plant. Is it possible that such plants do not get all the required nutrients from the soil in which they grow? Yes, because they are not fulfilling their requirement of other nutrients. That's why they are depending on this type of another mode of nutrition, that is insectivorous plant. So this is all about the insectivorous plants and parasitic plants. Now another mode of nutrition is saprotrophic. Saprotrophs or saprotrophic, this is also including in heterotrophs. You might have seen packets of mushroom sold in the vegetable market. You may have also seen fluffy umbrella like patches growing in moist soil or on rotting wood during the rainy season. That is figure 1.7. You can see the packet of mushroom and a mushroom growing on decayed material. Let us find out what type of nutrients they need to survive and from where they get them. So students, one activity is given, that is 1.2. Take a piece of bread and moisten it with the water. Leave it in a moist warm place for 2-3 days or fluffy until fluffy patches appear on them, as figure 1.8 you can see. What is the color of these patches? Observe the patches under a microscope or a magnifying glass. Write down your observation in the notebook. You will see cotton like thread spread on the piece of bread. These organisms are called fungi. Fungi is also microorganism. They have a different mode of nutrition. They absorb the nutrients from the bread, and this mode of nutrition in which organism take in nutrients from dead and decaying matter is called saprotrophic nutrition. Such organism with saprotrophic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. So we can say that some non-green plants obtain their nutrients from dead and decaying organic matter of plants and animal. Such plants are usually white in color and they have no leaves at all. So the mode of nutrition in which non-green plants obtain their nutrients from dead and decaying organic matter of the plants and animals is called saprotrophic nutrition, and plants which use saprotrophic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. For example, we can say coral root also and fungi also. So fungi also grow on pickles, leather, clothes and other articles that are left in hot and humid weather for a long time. During the rainy season, they spoil many things. Ask your parents about the menace of fungi in your house. The fungal spore are generally present in the air. When they land on wet and warm things, they germinate and grow. Now can you figure out how we can protect our things from getting spoiled? Yes, some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrients. This relationship is called symbiosis. So students, symbiosis we will study in detail in the next session. So in this session we will study these topics only, that you have to revise again. Thank you and have a nice day.